Okay. So we're going to this is going to be a fairly short, I say it's going to be fairly short. Look at me. Fuck. Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwan, and welcome to the channel. We are going to be talking about E3, which, when this video goes out, will be starting tomorrow, with the Summer Games Fest being hosted by the one, the only Jeff Keighley, normally your host of the Game Awards, but the Summer Games Fest is back, and it will be a digital event, and we're going to be talking about what we might think be at some of these events, as well as making some bets on if things will actually be there. Some of them are obvious, and obviously I wouldn't bet on things that have already been leaked or anything like that. I'm not really going to be talking about those. I'm going to be talking about the wants, the desires, the things that probably absolutely will be, and the things that I would really like to be there, and hopefully betting against the universe will make some of these things be there. Which, as a heads up, if you would like to come watch some of these events with us, we will be streaming the Summer Games Fest, which takes place from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday, June 10th. We will also be streaming a good amount of the events on Sunday, which is the Xbox event, Square Enix event, PC Games Show, Future Games Show, Warner Brothers Games, and then maybe some of the stuff on Tuesday. I'll be paying attention to the stuff announced on the other days, but in terms of actually streaming it and like having a conversation with everybody on stream, we will be doing those ones, at least Thursday and Sunday, because those are the ones that I care the most about. But let's start. So we're going to first talk about the Summer Games Fest. Now, the Summer Games Fest is going to be one of the most difficult to even really provide predictions for, because this is the partners for Summer Games Fest 2021. Which, there's a bunch of games on here. There's a bunch of companies on here. There's 30, more than 30? No, I don't know. I could count. I'm not going to because that'd be boring. But Jeff Keighley said there will be more than 30 announcements in terms of games or announcements or whatever he said that'll be happening at the Summer Games Fest kickoff event, which Summer Games Fest has other stuff that's going on across the next week, but the big spectacle event is going to be the one that's happening on Thursday morning. And in some capacity, these businesses and then some are going to be at that kickoff event. When I say and then some, one of the companies I know is going to be there is not on this image, which is Battlestate Games, which are the developers behind Escape from Tarkov. They are going to have some sort of major announcement that is going to be at the kickoff event for Summer Game Fest, which has my attention. I would be really surprised if it is anything new. Okay? Because Nikita, who's the lead dev and like the COO of Battlestate Games, is actually pretty open and pretty honest about where they're at in terms of development on Escape from Tarkov. So, in terms of what I expect to see, we'll be seeing some new guns and stuff that's going to be coming in the new expansion. We'll be seeing probably a trailer and a showcase for the factory expansion for when that map gets expanded to be larger than it is. But I will place a bet. I will place a single bet. I don't actually think we'll see this. But if we do, I will be very excited. Nikita said that the upcoming Streets of Tarkov map is a ways out still. And that we're going to get the factory expansion. And then between the factory expansion and the Streets of Tarkov, will we get the Lighthouse map, which is another map that we're supposed to get. We've seen zero about Lighthouse for Escape from Tarkov. So, while I believe it'll only be things about 12.11, the factory expansion, and the things that we'll be getting very soon, I will bet 5 gift subs if we get a trailer for Lighthouse. I'd be really stoked. Now, in terms of everything else here, I have no clue, especially because the thing that confuses me the most, to the point that I can't even accurately make predictions about what's going to be at the Summer Game Fest, is a whole shitload of these companies have their own events happening at E3. Things like Bandai Namco, they have their own event on the next Tuesday, on the 15th. Things like Square Enix, they have their own event that's happening on Sunday. whatever day of the fucking week that is, the 13th. Steam has its own event as well. It's called Steam Forward. I believe Ubisoft has its own event. Like, a lot of these have their own press conferences, showcases, whatever you want to call them, that are not Summer Games Fest pieces. They are their own part of E3. So in terms of what they're going to show off at Summer Game Fest, that they are going to show off there instead of during their own E3 showcase, I have no idea. Reaches a bigger audience by doing it at Summer Game Fest? Probably. Do love getting 2 or 3 trailers trickled even from the same devs. I mean, and that's the thing, is that, for instance, like, Sony is right here for the partner list. Sony does not have their own press conference showcase that is happening at E3, like where Square Enix does. So, but there are Sony properties that are coming soon. Things like Horizon Forbidden West, I think is the actual full title, or God of War Ragnarok. Now, we do know that God of War Ragnarok got delayed to 2022, but that doesn't mean we won't see a trailer at Summer Games Fest. But in terms of like what, I don't know what Square Enix would show us at the Summer Games Fest kickoff that they wouldn't instead want to show us at their own press conference. But there also could be something that is announced by Square Enix at the Summer Game Fest that they then extrapolate on at their actual own press conference. So, Eve, you mentioned Final Fantasy VII. Thursday, June 10th, is the day that the PlayStation 5 update and patch and everything for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 goes live. That's when Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade gets launched, and episode Intermission, which will be the part that features Yuffie, will go live, as well as all the updates that are coming for the PlayStation 5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I do not believe at Summer Games Fest or in their own showcase that's happening on Sunday will we see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. And here's why, okay? Final Fantasy 16 is supposed to come out this year. And Square Enix is really careful about the planning that they have for their RPG releases. We did not hear jack shit about Final Fantasy VII Remake until after Kingdom Hearts 3 released. They were like, nah, we ain't talking about this until all you fuckers start paying us for Kingdom Hearts. After you've given us your Kingdom Hearts money and you've already committed to it, then we can ask you to commit yourself to our next RPG. You already know what's coming. It was Final Fantasy VII Remake. We already showed it off, but we're not going to show you anything else until you've given us money for Kingdom Hearts. Nah, but more about the expansion. I don't think we will. They didn't even initially want to do any DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. And the reason that I can suss out of why we're getting the PS5 version and the patch and this like DLC piece is so that they can learn and adapt everything to PS5 and the PS5 infrastructure for the future releases to be on PS5. Because of the upgrade in terms of technology and the capabilities of the system. But they had said before they didn't intend on doing any DLC. And they also said, which I mean, of course, it's a company, take it with a grain of salt. They said that they don't intend on there being any DLC for any of the future parts either, that they're going to be their own singular releases, and that's supposed to be it. So episode Intergrade for Final Fantasy VII Remake is a unique thing. That said, I do have some things that I will place bets on for the Square Enix showcase. And it doesn't actually have to be at the Square Enix showcase. If they show these things at all, the biggest one is something that I apparently am the only person that cares about anymore. I talk about this game and people are like, that exists? And I'm like, yes, it exists and I want it. And that's Babylon's Fall. Babylon's Fall is a game that was revealed at E3 2018 by Square Enix that looked great. And I want it. I want to play it. But it's just kind of... And every now and then they're like, oh yeah, it still exists. And I'm like, are you sure? And they showed us a trailer for it at like the Tokyo Game Show in 2018. Not 20, like 2020 or something like that. We had a trailer for it recently, and everyone's like, holy shit, that game still exists. And I'm like, yes, it still exists, and I want to play it. If we get a release date for Babylon's Fall, 5 gifted subs. Okay? I will not bet on a release date for Final Fantasy 16 because I'm very certain that we will get one. Because if that game still is on track to come out in 2021, it's June. You got 6 months to release the game, Square Enix. And the other one, though, that I also will, again, bet some gift subs on, because this is a game that I am also so much looking forward to. I will bet 5 gift subs on if we get a release date for Forspoken. Because that game looks incredible, and I want to play it. So far, we're up to 15 gift subs. 5 for... if we get a Lighthouse trailer in Escape from Tarkov from Battlestate Games at the kickoff for Summer Games Fest, and 5 for a release date for Babylon's Fall, 5 for a release date for Forspoken, and I do not believe for a hot fucking second that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 will be there, but if we get a trailer, and I mean a trailer, it can't be a teaser that shows freaking Cloud's sword cut across the screen and it says Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 2024. That doesn't count. If we get a trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, it doesn't have to have a release date. It can have a release year, and I wouldn't expect any more than that. If we get that, I will put 5 more gift subs down. But I don't think that's happening. I doubt we hear crap about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 until after Final Fantasy 16 has been released. Now, you're bringing up the next one, Eve. I think we're getting a trailer for either Elden Ring from Bandai or another Soulsian from them. Okay, so Xbox and Bethesda, who knows what's going to happen there. A lot of people want to see things like the next Elder Scrolls, fat chance. You might get a trailer for Starfield, maybe, if you're lucky. Warner Brothers Games, the fighting game community is paying attention to because NetherRealm Studios is owned by Warner Brothers Games, and NetherRealm Studios has all but ceased work on Mortal Kombat 11, which means that it's time for something else. People are hoping for something like an Injustice game or something like that. Take-Two is here, which Take-Two is part of the people that work behind Rockstar Games and titles like Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto. If you are hoping for Grand Theft Auto 6, I wish you luck, because I fucking doubt it. Like, I really do. I doubt it so much. But for all of your sakes, I hope so. We got Capcom there, which I doubt we see much from Capcom. I doubt we see much that we haven't already heard about from Capcom. Okay? We might see I can almost guarantee you we will see Monster Hunter stuff. Either a new trailer for the next title expansion for Monster Hunter Rise, whatever the 4.0 with the new monster is going to be. You'll probably see another trailer for the Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, because I don't think that that's out yet, and they're still trying to push that out. We might see some more about Resident Evil 4 VR. Maybe you might see some stuff. If Resident Evil 8 is getting any DLC, you can expect to see it then. And the last thing, which I think is still a pipe dream, not really a pipe dream, it's just not something that I expect to see, which is what you brought up, Eve, a new fighting game from Capcom. Not a new one, but a new release. And the only thing that could really be on the horizon there is Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 5 is fucking old now. It is an old game, and they had already intended to be done with Street Fighter 5 like a year and a half ago-ish, but the pandemic kind of changed their plans, and they've been rolling out new DLC, and they still have not revealed the final character that's going to be in their unplanned, now being released fighter pack. There's been a lot of debate about who that person could be, but we will probably see who the last DLC fighter is for Street Fighter V. I do not expect to see Street Fighter 6. I don't think it's actually anywhere that close at all. Okay, next, we'll talk about the Nintendo Direct, which Nintendo has said is going to be around 40 minutes long, which is really long for a Nintendo Direct. Also very impressive. Now, there is going to be a new Nintendo Switch system. This has been all but confirmed, all but announced, actually. It's been confirmed. It just hasn't been announced that there will be a Nintendo Switch Pro, Nintendo Switch XL, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There is going to be an upgraded version of Nintendo Switch that I am so ready to buy. God. I don't need to buy one, but at the same part of me feels like I need to buy one because they're like every single game that I'm excited for on the Nintendo Switch ends up running like ass because it's an Amazon Fire tablet with controllers strapped to it with duct tape. And a Nintendo Switch that runs games properly sounds excellent to me. But that was supposed to be released before their announced before their Nintendo Direct, which maybe that gets announced at like Summer Games Fest, but they have like 6 days to announce this Nintendo Switch Pro if they're not announcing it at the Nintendo Direct, which maybe it will be at Summer Games Fest. Maybe that'll be announced there, which means that the Nintendo Direct will more than likely be a sales pitch for all the games that are going to run very well on a new and upgraded Nintendo Switch console. But what might those be? Okay? How many gift subs have we bet this at this point? 15? Yes, we've bet 15. I got room to bet 10 more before I tell myself to stop. Okay? I think anyway. Nah. I know what I want to bet on. Okay. So, as my wife, Athena, goes, "Hey, what are you doing? Bayonetta. That is one of the biggest ones, Eve. You'll toss 15 yourself? All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Out in the spirit of it, I'll match yours. Okay? Since you're betting 15, I will match your 15. If Bayonetta 3 gets a proper trailer and a release date, there you go. Me and Eve, both 15 gift subs. Because I don't know if that game even fucking exists anymore. The director keeps on being like, yes, development is going smoothly. Now leave me alone. And then 2 years later, development is going smoothly. Now leave me alone. That's all they've said, is that development is going smoothly. That's it. Just, we're still working on it. It's going well. Is it? We have received nothing but a logo. And that shit was revealed like 5 fucking years ago, man. I don't know if it's got to be close, right? The only thing is, if it's not close, then that means that it's probably going to be shit terrible. Because most games that are developed for that long had a large amount of development issues and end up being bad. Toss 5 yourself at Elden Ring release date. Not trailers, nothing like that, but an actual release date. That's fair. Most of mine also had the stipulation of a release date. Because we've already received trailers for some of these things. Most of mine, stipulation is release date. I want the release date. Even if I know they're going to end up delaying it, it makes it more of a commitment. It solidifies it as something that is coming soon rather than something that magically exists inside of some dev's computer that may only have 5 days of work on it. I would not be surprised at all, and I'm not betting on this, if we get Breath of the Wild 2 as a proper announcement, with at least like a release window probably. I would not be surprised if the Switch Pro, which has already been said to be coming out before the end of the year, is releasing before the end of the year with Breath of the Wild 2. Because, Jesus Christ, Breath of the Wild sold more copies than the Nintendo Switch did. There was more copies of that game sold than Nintendo Switches had even been made. Because people were like, I'm buying this and I'll get a Switch eventually. And it's like, you can't play it. They're like, I don't care. I got the new Zelda. And I bet they'll try to do the same thing with Breath of the Wild 2. And it will be in some way a better experience on the Switch Pro. They might even pitch it as something you need the Switch Pro to play, which would make a lot of people really angry, but would also make Nintendo a lot of money. And Nintendo likes money. I would also, the other things that I expect to see at the Nintendo Direct, we very well might see the next remaster/remake coming from Nintendo. Whether that is another Mario game, because I know there's a couple of them that could still be adapted to be released on the Switch to make a bunch of money. There could also be, there's more Zelda games. We need not Breath of the Wild. We need Wind Waker on the Switch. We need Twilight Princess on the Switch. Do we have the Nintendo 64 games on the Switch? Are they on like the eShop or something like that? Do you think they'd ever try and release a new console, though, with the current shortages of parts? Yes, I absolutely think they do. I think that Nintendo will go for the cheaper parts that are available and not the high-end transistors that you need for like the higher-end RAM, so they can, one, keep the cost of the system down, and two, make them faster and sell more of them. So I think there's a chance we could see the next Nintendo remaster/remake, whatever that is. Okay? Now, this next one. So here's another thing, okay? No, not the next one. We have one more thing. There's also going to be the next Smash character at the Nintendo Direct. I have no predictions on who it is. I don't care who it is, because I like Smash. And there's not been a character, like the only character that's been announced that I went, meh, was Minecraft Steve. And that's because I don't think he looks up good in Smash, and I also don't like the way he works in Smash. But everyone else, even if it wasn't something I was super excited about, I'm like, meh, more Smash characters. Cool. The only one I wasn't big on was Steve. In terms of if I wanted to throw out a buck wild prediction on it, I would still like to see a Tails character from Bandai Namco. One of the Tales of games. I don't care who they even pick, okay? For a Tails character being put into Smash. I don't care if it's Lloyd Irving from fucking Tales of Symphonia. I don't care if it's Velvet Crow from Tales of Berseria. I don't care if they take one of the characters that's coming from Tales of Arise, the upcoming Tales game. I don't care who they pick. I just want to see a representative from the Tales franchise make its way into Smash. They have them as assist characters, like Lloyd already is an assist character. I want to see them have a playable character. That's who I want. In terms of who I think it could be, no idea. Not going to make that guess because nobody knows but Sakurai, and that's it. Because every time people take guesses, Sakurai's like, ha, lol, nope, Banjo-Kazooie. And everyone's like, that's really cool. Like, or it's like, oh, who's it gonna be? Ha, Pyra and Mithra. Cool. Which makes me sad because I really genuinely wanted Cosmos. Because I really, really want remasters, remakes, modern ports of the Xenosaga trilogy from the PlayStation 2. I want those so fucking bad. So I was really, really hoping that it'd be Cosmos that gets into Smash as part of a, like, joint announcement that that trilogy was getting remastered. But no, that's not what happened. I'm not surprised, but I'm still sad on the inside. Crash Bandicoot, I doubt Crash, due to Sony's own Smash game, has him. Yeah, but they haven't done anything with All-Stars. It could be Crash Bandicoot. It could also be Rayman is another possibility. Both Crash and Rayman are, or Spyro, have also been like big talked about possibilities of people that could become Smash characters and that would fit the idea of Smash. And there's been ruminations going on of there being a Spyro 4. And every time you look at a Smash character, treat it like an advertisement. Because that's what they are. They're advertisements. They are advertisements for the game that they come from. And so I could see Spyro coming if Spyro 4 is happening. Rayman just got a new game a few years ago. If he's getting another new game, I could see Rayman. But sometimes they're also like Banjo-Kazooie. Bam! Big mascot character. So that's why it's really hard to guess. But always treat it as a potential advertisement. But I still would love to see a Tails character. Like I said, I don't even care which one. They can use fucking Milia from Tales of Xillia. I don't care. Just give me a Tails character that I can play as. Now, very last one we're going to talk about. Very last one we're going to talk about is Bandai Namco. Okay? Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco. Bandai. Bamco. Look. You are probably one of my favorite game devs, okay? You make a lot of games that I fucking love. Would you please make some more? Oh, shit. Okay? All right. If we get a release date for Elden Ring, 5 gift subs. Now, I placed that bet full well believing that we ain't fucking getting it. I'll be amazed if Elden Ring is even shown off in any form, in any way at E3. I'm not even sure that game exists. Not actually. Not for realsies. Same again if we see a PC port of Bloodborne 2. Now again, I make that bet full well knowing that that's probably never happening. I would be amazed if we even see a PlayStation 5 release of Bloodborne with how shit that game's code is and how much Sony likes to just pretend that it doesn't exist. Like it was never made. And the amount, the sheer little bit that From Software ever even acknowledges its existence. Despite being one of the most beloved Soulsian games that was ever made. But Bandai Namco, some things that I would like to see from you. Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 would be sick. I think we will, and I'm not going to bet on it because I'm very confident that we might see it. We will see a release date for Tales of Arise. We already have one, actually, don't we? It's coming out around my birthday. Yeah. Nice. I'm excited. I want to play that game. Code Vein 2, as Eve just mentioned, something else that I would like to see. We're currently playing through Code Vein on our Thursday streams for Two Dead Dudes, where we play through Soulsian games, and I'm enjoying it a lot, and I would like to see the next iteration of that game. It doesn't have to be Code Vein 2 specifically, but I would like to see the next Soulsian game that is made by Bandai Namco that is not made by From Software. And that's it. That's it, I think. Sure, there's something that I'm forgetting that I care about. But these are the things that I feel could happen or I would like to see happen at E3 2021. So, part of the recording for this is so that those bets are recorded for posterity, because I have already forgotten a couple of them. It's fine. It's fine. You say, but I make those bets believing wholeheartedly that half of them ain't happening. Half of them ain't happening. So, again, though, we'll be streaming some of this. 100% be streaming the Summer Games Fest kickoff event on Thursday and streaming most of the events on Sunday with Xbox, Bethesda, Square Enix, PC Game Show. I don't know if we'll be doing all of these. At bare minimum, probably Xbox, Bethesda, because I am interested in what they're doing, especially Xbox. Square Enix, especially because they're one of the companies that I have just like slobbed all over since I was itty bitty. And then I don't know about Tuesday for the Nintendo Direct and the Bandai Namco events yet. It'd help if we knew what time the Bandai Namco event was happening, because that could help me plan. But they haven't announced times, just that they're doing stuff on that day. For you, it was 15 for Bayonetta, 3 for a Kingdom Hearts character in Smash, and 5 for a release date for Elden Ring. Boom. Okay. When I go back through this, I will write it down for myself. And so, just as a heads up, what this means is that we do currently have a sub goal of hitting 50 subs to do a full voted on playthrough of the game. We have hit that number before. We played all the way through Resident Evil 7. And then after we hit that, we upped the goal to 75. And if we hit that one, we're going to do it. If we hit 50, then we will vote on a game that we'll do a full playthrough of on a bonus stream on a weekend. And if we somehow crank it all the way to 75, even if I haven't updated the goal yet, then we will do another one. Because, yeah. So, that's it, though. I hope to see you at these streams. Hold me to these predictions and these bets. And I will see you next time, everybody. So, yeah. If you do, go watch one of the other two videos, or if we see you in one of those live streams, thank you, and enjoy.